All right, folks, good morning. Let's go ahead and get airborne with Analyze Your Trade and Debrief. Scheduling mix-up on my part. We're going to start our new schedule January 1st. I think last week I had mumbled something along the lines of we start at 1 o'clock today. So senior moment out of me, but we'll go ahead and get airborne. We have a lot to talk about, a lot going on, obviously in the markets, obviously a lot going on in the world. And if you watch the just a disgusting display of the swamp yesterday with our deputy, what is he, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. What an absolute shit show yesterday. The FBI, it doesn't matter if you're a rank and file FBI agent doing the good work of the United States, your leadership has destroyed the reputation of the FBI, period. An awful display yesterday. Anybody watch any of that? I mean, Trey Gowdy was awesome. A lot of the Republic, it's disgusting what's going on in the Department of Justice and an independent counsel that is stacked with people who can't stand the president and who actually communicated with the Clinton campaign. I think the president should fire Jeff Sessions because he essentially, in his interview to be secretary or the attorney general, he should have told the president, hey, I'm going to recuse myself from any Russia stuff, and he didn't. So I would put Trey Gowdy in there tomorrow. I mean, this is awful. Our Department of Justice, Obama destroyed the IRS. Now we all believe that the IRS can be used as a political arm, Lois Lerner and all that stuff. And remember, folks, if you're ever under subpoena, federal subpoena to produce documents or turn over stuff, don't do it anymore because now we have a standard that whether you're Hillary Clinton or Lois Lerner or the IRS, you don't have to turn over stuff to the government that a federal judge asked for. You can destroy it. Go ahead and try that and see what happens to you. Tomorrow, I know I'm trying to be happy this time of year, but he should fire Jeff Sessions and put Trey Gowdy in there. Well, we'll get to more on a second here because this really does go to the full faith and credit of the United States. If we have a government that is just hell bent on destroying a duly elected president, it's sedition, it's treason, it's all those words that you wouldn't think would be physically possible, but that's what's going on. All right, real quick, strategically, North Korea is still North Korea and wants to kill all of us. Now they're moving to biological weapons. Shocker, like you guys didn't know that. He killed his half brother in the airport in where was it, Malaysia, using VX nerve agent. He had two girls run up to him with hankies and wipe this hanky across his face and died. He defecated himself, he vomited, and then he died. So imagine putting some VX on a rocket and heading that to the West Coast. So enjoy. And then Nikki Haley, our UN ambassador, is going to have a press conference at noon talking about how Iran is not in compliance with the nuclear agreement. How stupid. We're so stupid. Barack Obama, I swear to Christ, folks, I saw a nice political cartoon that said, it showed like Iran trying to get, before the nuke deal, it showed Iran saying death to America. And then after the nuke deal, it said death to, the same guy's yelling death to America instead. He's got a bag of money and he's got a nuke under his arm. So there you go. You can thank President. But here's the problem with being a smart person. Not necessarily identifying myself as that, but I think I'm a little above average intelligence. And if you've read my book, it's in here. I hate having I told you so moments. Because in this case, like a nuclear-armed North Korea or a nuclear-armed Iran, who cares when something horrific happens and you're the guy standing there going, I told you so? Then it's too late. Like I write about in my book, if you have an I told you so moment, I wasn't using military examples because in the military, if you have an I told you so moment, most likely you're about to die, you're dead, or somebody else is. But in the business world, an I told you so moment means you didn't, put your position forth, as whatever. I'm not going to get into it. What I'm saying here is we're going to have several I told you so moments soon, and who the hell is going to care? Stock market will be at 0, the VIX will be at 90, people will be dead. It'll be literally cats and dogs, massive hysteria. So anyway, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? I'm glad the president signed a $700 billion defense bill. It's a start, and I love this. U.S. General on Trump's Afghanistan strategy. This will be a very long winter for the Taliban. When I was up at the Army-Navy game last week, I talked to the battle director from the KAOK. He was a great buddy of mine. He flew Marine Hornets. 2 years ago, he was in the KOC. He's the guy that, literally life or death decisions, predators, everything at his disposal. He's got, it's like an IMAX theater of shit going on. And he's like, Wiz, talking to my replacement, he's like, the gloves are off. When you got a Trump and then you have Secretary of Defense like Mattis, they're like, kill everything bad, period. That's before it was, and a couple dudes in the White House, talk to them and let's feel good. The gloves are off, folks. And I think it's awesome. And it's not a bad one. Brian, KOC is Combined Air Operations Center. So it's all the assets at your disposal. I was a mobile targeting officer in the KOC in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia for 3 months. So I lived in Riyadh, beautiful place. So yeah, exactly. So it's good to see that. It's very good to see that the president is saying, hey man, gloves are off here. But anyway, so the ECB, we talked earlier this week that they're keeping their policy unched. And they might even they gave a little hint at more QE, maybe in a couple months. So that was pretty interesting. Their inflation is stubbornly low, just like ours. So this is it's bullish, right? Oh, cool. There you go, Brian. Yeah. So you're familiar with the KOC. That's right. So bullish for Europe. I'll leave it at that. I'm not super. Obviously, if it was bad news, it would impact our market. It didn't. Let me just brief you on some of this stuff. Let me go here first. Senator Grassley fired off a letter after this guy's testimony. If you didn't watch this, folks, or you're watching CNBC or I'm sorry, MSNBC or CNN, you're not going to see any of this because they're still talking about how much Diet Coke the president drinks. This is disgusting. You ready for this? They got just 2 of over the 10,000 text messages referred to as an insurance policy. This FBI agent, a very high-ranking FBI agent, who to his mistress, again, he's married, FBI agents are of upstanding character, said, don't worry, even if Trump wins, I have an insurance policy against the Trump presidency. I have a lot of tools at my disposal to protect this country. And when we talk about Hillary, because it can't be traced on my special phone. So they actually believe that he was in communications with the Clinton campaign, folks. If this doesn't make your face want to melt off, this guy calls Trump a loathsome human being. He can save the United States. I have so many tools that I can do. I can't even. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I actually am not, because I didn't think this could happen. But you have a bunch of heavies at the FBI who are northeastern Virginia pieces of shit liberals. Tamara, he made himself God. That's what he said. He said, I have so many tools at my disposal to save this country. Like he's freaking Superman. Folks, in our old country, these people would be arrested for treason or sedition. And the one guy, I already beat this dead horse. The one guy's wife works for Fusion GPS. If you don't know that household term by now, you're living in a cave. Fusion GPS paid. And so, you ready for this? Your tax money. I thought the Federal Bureau of Investigation does their own investigations. Well, allegedly, they paid some shitty firm that came up with a fake dossier from a British agent who got it from Russian intelligence. You want to talk about Russian collusion? There's your conclusion. And the Clinton campaign also paid for this fake dossier. They used this fake dossier as a reason to go get FISA warrants to break the Fourth Amendment to spy on Americans. I'm a libertarian, guys. I'm not a Republican. This is why I hate big government. This is awful. I had tears in my eyes when they sang the Star Spangled Banner at the Army-Navy game. It was so beautiful. And then I see shit like this. Oh, career FBI agents can't be tainted. They're allowed, all these liberals yesterday, you're allowed to have political opinions. Yeah, you are. We all do. But when it turns into this shit, it's awful. I can't. Tamara, the FBI is done. It's a tainted. These aren't respectable G-men anymore. No longer will I ever look at an FBI agent again unless I know him or her as a good person. Just like the IRS. It's awful. All right, enough of the politics, guys. If you're not paying attention to what's going on to this, you're a fool. This is your country, and it's being destroyed by bureaucrats. I'm glad to see that Rex Tillerson's cleaning house at State. Some big, liberal just left the Department of State. Leave. And the fact that Trump is getting to appoint a lot more, judges, and for 8 years Obama stacked these departments like the IRS. Guys, if there was people and businesses whose lives were destroyed by the IRS because they were conservative. Imagine being asked by the government, do you pray at your meetings? What do you pray about? All sorts of shit. That's the government, man. This is your government, ladies and gentlemen. They used all of our tax dollars to go pay for a dirty dossier so they could essentially have a silent coup and try and overthrow this president. You should be effing furious. Could you imagine if this was the other way around, if Hillary won and never mind. I can't even, let's move on. You ready for this? We're getting ready to take a victory lap on taxes. It's, essentially the president's going to sign it here. So the president's going to sign, we have an agreement down to 21% or something like that. I mean, good stuff. I'm happy about it. I'm getting money back that I really deserve and that other people don't deserve. I work my ass off, and it's not yours. Like I said, folks, and I still can't believe the Republicans, didn't get a flat tax passed. I mean, we should all pay the same percentage. I just don't understand it, and it should have been on a postcard, but the lobbyists would never. Yeah, exactly, Brian. What a Christmas! I get to keep more of my money that I earned, not somebody else. But here's the deal, and I forget who asked the other day. And again, apologize if you're an AR. We're going to do that tomorrow. The whole building's internet was down yesterday, and I'm like, Christ Almighty! Of course, it happens like 15 minutes or 20 minutes before I'm supposed to get on the air, and there's no way in hell. Sitting in Starbucks doesn't work, and my hotspot doesn't work. So we'll do that tomorrow. But somebody asked the other day about a hotspot a hedge. Hey, Wiz, what current hedges do we have on as far as a potential market pullback or increase in volatility? The answer is zero. The answer is zero, because when you look on the radar, I really see one of these. Remember this extended period of low volatility? This was 2 months of vol just not even having a heartbeat. Well, guess what? We might, you'll pardon the whiplash here. So, yeah, we're doing a victory lap on taxes, and I think the president's going to sign it before Christmas. But look at this. Well, Brian, it's a good point. We don't trade naked here at Top Gun Options, folks. Every trade in and of itself is hedged. A vertical spread, a long call diagonal, an iron condor, you name it. All of our trades are hedged, obviously. I think what the person was getting at is, hey, what's our potential victory? How can we make money if the market pulls back and vol spikes? I think that's what it was. So I'll answer that, because this is when you see a sentence like this, the approach confused some Republicans. So the Republicans are starting to, I don't know. Here's short story long. Again, we're making sausage. Again, I don't think, and good old Mitch McConnell, another rhino, said the government will not shut down, period. So if you believe that, great. If you don't, and you think it still could be a shit show before the end of the year, maybe we'll take a look at getting long volatility here as a trade or a hedge, which many of you know we named about 6 months ago a trudge. Obviously, this is all over the news today. Disney agrees to buy some of 21st Century Fox. And, of course, on when you're watching Comedy Central, CNBC this morning, Iger was on there, and they asked about, aren't you going to run for president in 2020? Of course he's going to run for president. When all these, and what's his name, the guy who's the DirecTV CEO, they just interviewed. I met him down. I gave a keynote for DirecTV Worldwide down in Buenos Aires, down in Argentina a couple of years ago, and I met him. All these imperial CEOs, after Trump has won the presidency, are all looking at each other like, that guy's retarded, and he is president. Look at me. I'm a limousine liberal. So all these limousine liberals, Howard Schultz from Starbucks, Iger from Disney, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, a Clinton supporter. Clinton wins double digits. Market implodes if Trump wins. He's an idiot. You're an idiot, Mr. Dimon. I got that right, and you got that wrong. So Iger's going to run for president eventually, but big movie deal. Dan, they do. They think it's easy. They're not Donald Trump. They don't sleep 4 hours a night. Trust me, I know. You guys know my sister, and I've met some of these heavies. She gives me good intel about these heavies. I know a lot about them, and they do not have the work ethic of a Donald Trump. That's just what it boils down to. Where was it? Whatever. Okay, so they just don't. So you're right. Everything's easy, right? I love friends of mine who, to save some money, if they have a plumbing issue, they're like, I'll fix it. Plumbing can't be hard. Plumbers do it. And then they eventually call a plumber as their house is destroyed. So anybody still in the Disney trade from like a long time ago? This was an Exxon trade for me. What do I mean by that? That's probably where I said to get into Disney, and it did that. No, I'm kidding. We got into Disney. We got into Disney when it was going through, around here. We had a Disney, right around here is when I decided to get in. When it broke out of this chop, we had a nice, and then it rolled over. I'm like, I can't anymore. And then the ESPN shit and the politics and everything like that. So Dennis is still in it. So Dennis, you're getting a nice recovery here out of Disney. Good job holding it if that's what you want. My commit criteria and my strategic mindset changed on Disney with all this stuff. But Dennis, hopefully you're selling some front month upside calls. This isn't an ExxonMobil though, because it hasn't gotten into a range. Maybe down here there was a little bit of a range, Dennis. So good for you. Bill's in it. Okay, good. So I mean, this is good news. They still got to get rid of that ESPN. We talked about Disney the other night when I did the timing research panel. If you guys were there, we covered Disney. I'm not a Disney guy anymore. All right. There we go. House, Senate Republicans reach a deal. 21% corporate tax rate. The top rate goes down to 37, which is a good deal. I got to dig into this. Is if the pass through for the S corp? Does anybody know this? Because that's all I care about. My LLCs, bunch of companies that I own, and S corps. That flows through. Does anybody know? In the sausage, I didn't read all the sausage yet, obviously. I'm going to go Nancy Pelosi. We have to pass this bill in order for us to see what's in it. Tamara, you haven't seen that? I know a lot of you all here at TGO are small business owners or, own your, we have to find out about that because I ain't paying no 37%. If Facebook and Apple get to pay 21%, Uncle Wiz needs to. But that's bullish, folks. I mean, we have a deal on tax cuts. This is historic. Put that in the victory column for Trump. So here we go. It seems like every day, and I know somebody the other day said, "Hey, this low volume was over the holidays could be, it could. We could implode, but the bias is up." Remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you're looking at a market like this, you have to trade the market you have, not the one you want. So. Nice. Again, we're getting that little hypoxic. We get these little hypoxic tops, a little pullback. Hypoxic, little pullback. Hypoxic. Oh my God, no. Brian Ross. I can't wait for Brian Ross to get off suspension so he can go back to ABC News. Folks, you make a blunder like that literally causes the market to crash 350 points. You fire that person. It just shows you the bias of the media. So we're getting a little bit of a. Oh, good, Dan. Thank you. Negotiators agreed to keep the Senate's approach to provide a tax deduction for. Okay, so did somebody find out if it's at the 21% or if it is at your regular rate? Because then that really doesn't do shit for me because I'm obviously up in the higher bracket here. There's a big difference between 37 and 21. We need to find that out. I guess I can talk to my accountant, but I was wondering if any of you guys knew before me. So Telecom, obviously, big deal. The financial firms, we talked about getting out of ditching Goldman Sachs and not getting in front of any financials. Another good call, getting out of Goldman Sachs with it up another percent and legging into the bull put spread or adding a repair trade on. So hopefully everybody who was in Goldman, that was a bad trade out of me. So here's an analyze your trade. Actually, here's the debrief part of analyze your trade. I failed on 2 trades, and here's why. I broke my short-term SOP. If you're new, let me spend a little time, and if you've been here for a while, this is a good refresher. I said we should be in 5 sectors. Actually, I'm going to add one today, and it's not necessarily a sector. It's a trade, volatility. So we should only be trading front-month trades that we have a long interest in, or a short, for example. I should not have dabbled around in Tesla, even though it felt right at the time, because I don't have a Jan 20 trade in that name. Okay, so let's go through that again. The sectors, in no particular order, are what? Finance. Okay, so I think the last time I did this, we agreed that we should all do this like once a month. Oh, that's awesome, Vasilius. I didn't know you lived in Doral. We got to get a drink, man. Dennis, what did you find out? They are giving the pass-throughs a 20% deduction, then you pay your individual rate. Why do we have to do math like that? This, carry the 1, the square root of pi. Jesus Christ, man. Give me the... Now that's annoying. Do you understand that, Dennis? So you get a 20% deduction on what? On your business? I already have a bunch of business deductions. I don't get that. It's simplification. Brian, you and I both wanted a postcard. Vasilius, yeah, if you guys don't know what he's talking about. So in Doral Magazine, what page was that? There it is. I'm on page, 42 through 43. Did you actually see the physical magazine? That's funny. I want to get a copy of that. So Doral is, it's the Vasilius is in the land of the beautiful people outside Miami. So they did a story on me about, it's about, what's funny is this is my buddy's jet. Look at this. Everybody see this? Here's his air-to-air kills. 4 Cessnas and a TIE fighter. That's awesome. And obviously he's Jewish. He's a doctor down here. He's a back doctor, so he put the Star of David on his jet. So I don't fly for the Israeli Air Force. That's funny. If you want to check that out, it's a funny story. But yeah, thanks, Vasilius. I appreciate it. Okay. But here's this. Let's go through the sectors. This will be good. Finance, and these aren't in order of, oh my God, importance. Because somebody asked the other day, that was a zoo the other day, our joint briefs. That shows you how much we're growing, and that also shows you that we don't do options, weapons, schools, or full throttles often, because I'm not saying a shit show just because it sucked. It was good. It was a shit show because there's too many people. So let's go through finance. You want to be in a finance. Well, Tamara, what's funny is his name is on the side of the jet, not mine. But they did this in post-production. You see the whiz right there? His name is actually Thumper. His call sign is Thumper. So he digitally put whiz in there. So there you go. Computer magic. So you need to be in a financial trade. Here's your Jan 20 long call diagonals or synthetic stock position. So whoever asked the other day, you're about to get it right now. JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley. Those need to be your financials that you're in. I'm not going to sit here and badmouth Goldman Sachs. You can go back to one of the recordings where I badmouth Goldman Sachs, why I'm bearish. Dick Beauvais, legendary investor, a couple weeks ago, he actually called for Lloyd Blankfein, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, to resign. Oof. Wiz said he should resign. Nobody listens. Well, they do now. You guys can see all the media I'm starting to get. People, a year later, after calling the election for Trump and the market rally, now I'm getting calls for interviews and shit. It's funny. So Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan, that's where you need to be, in one of those. Wiz, I'm a little nervous about being in a single stock. Well, then do this, the XLF. What's the XLF? It is the financial ETF. Okay, so it's the Select Spider, the biggest financial ETF. So if you want to spread your risk around, Wiz, there, JB Diamond could wake up one day and say, I'm running for president. There's no replacement CEO, but goodbye, JP Morgan. In my book, subtle plug, I also talk about succession planning. Meaning, a lot of these, I go through great examples of how a CEO gets clipped or just does something out of the blue, and then the board goes, we need to find a new CEO. It's not the way the military works, folks. We have a commanding officer and an executive officer. Skipper dies in combat, the XO moves up. So that's a risk to individual trades. There's a risk to, who was it? SocGen. Everybody remember the SocGen scandal in 2009 or 8 or whenever the hell that was? When one trader lost, you ready for this? $7 billion. You think you had a bad trade. This guy skirted all the risk management systems. So in the blink of an eye, SocGen imploded. So if you want to spread out your risk in the financial sector, use the XLF. If you think that Jamie Dimon's a good dude, I do. He's a good skipper. I don't like his politics. Who cares? Wearing my flight suit, I don't like JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon. Wearing my Gordon Gekko Armani from Monday, I like JP Morgan. So JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley. Moving on, the next sector should be energy. And you guys know my energy trade, and it is Exxon Mobil. Good looking. How many of you are in the Iron Condor now? How many got filled? So we have a good looking bull put spread, and we have a good looking bear call spread. Good. Brian's in that. So we have a solid Iron Condor. You are looking at, in bull put spreads alone, you are looking at $4,000 in profit. So if you're at the max loss in the Goldman Sachs trade, which is my fault, you're at break even with your Exxon Mobil 2 bull put spreads from the past couple weeks. Okay. Dennis, did you get any of the bull put spreads? We had 2 bull put spreads for $2,000 each in wintering. So that's very, very nice Exxon Mobil trades. Oh, good, Dennis. And then what? Where's my, what's the date? Right around here, we put on a long call diagonal. So this is a yes, folks. Exxon Mobil out to Jan 20, long call diagonal is a yes. And trade the front months. So I like ConocoPhillips. Well, let me just stick with the one I like. ExxonMobil or ConocoPhillips. You got single stock risk in here. Yeah, you do. That's what happened last time I put a Jan 19 on. But we printed money doing Iron Condors and made an $11,000 swing in a trade. Okay? So, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, we have Jan 20s on, and we're trading the front month. ExxonMobil, we got a Jan 20 on, and we're trading the front month. We seeing a trend? All right, Wiz, just like the financials, I don't want single stock risk. We could have another Captain Hazelton. It just hit me. I tried to come up with that guy's name the other day. We have single stock risk in ExxonMobil. Everybody remember? I feel like Cliff Clavin this morning from Cheers. It's a little known fact that the Exxon Valdez the skipper was Captain Hazelton. So you do have single stock risk. You wake up, there's another Exxon Valdez, God forbid. They're still recovering from that. I don't want to be in just an ExxonMobil or a ConocoPhillips. I like the energy sector. You need to look at XLE. That is the Spider Energy ETF. Okay? Financials, energy. What else do we want to talk about? Tech. Let's go through our fangs. We love Amazon. Oh, wait, I didn't brief that. Let's go back and get tactical. Look at this. We got retail sales today, folks. Fastest pace since 2012. Whew. That is a roaring retail sales number. Very, very bullish, guys. I briefed you on Monday. I said Thursday we're going to get retail sales. Look at this. Retail sales blowout. Core retail sales blowout. What's core, Wiz? What's that mean? Remember, when you see the word core, it means X something. This means X autos. So core retail sales, buying your G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip online, all that stuff, all the, I usually do bachelor night at the mall, which is, December 24th is when I do my Christmas shopping, but not this year. Amazon. Regular retail sales includes everything. Everything retail, including autos. What a great retail sales number. Huge retail sales. Nobody does retail sales better than me. Believe me. Initial jobless claims, 44-year lows. Please, Obama people, again, cry into your, I forgot to brief you on this. Fox News had a great clip, a local Fox reporter interviewing people around a polling station coming out, bunch of young people. They look like snowflakes. We came from all over the country to vote for more. We love them. Everybody starts cheering. The reporter was like, looks into the camera. Can you effing believe that? Voter fraud in Alabama. This idiot snowflake who obviously doesn't get that doing that's illegal. They all just jumped on a bus from different parts of the country and said, hey, let's get down there and vote for Rory Moore or for the other dude. Kind of like Al Franken, but I digress. Can you effing believe that? Horrible people in this country, man. It's shitty. What bullish, and the jobs numbers from last week, you just can't, this, and then we're going to move on to infrastructure spending. Bam. This is just good stuff. Let's get back to here. So Amazon, we've had some good bull put spreads. I had a bad weekly options trade a while ago. We've done some good work in here. Oh, this was the bad one. But we had like 2 or 3 good bull put spreads here, a bad bear call spread. There's a other bull put spread that I think expires on tomorrow that is looking great. So everybody should be very, very happy with Amazon. The problem with Amazon being this expensive is it's very hard to do synthetic stock or a long call diagonal, even with options. So, Bill, I'm not a Nike guy. I traded Nike a couple years ago. I also traded Under Armour, and I'm just not. I don't like single stocks in retail. Let me go back. We were talking about tech, but let me go to the XRT. If you do like the retail sector, and holy crap, look at November. This is a good seasonal trade. Write this one down. I didn't do it this year. Just got busy with other trades. Write this down in your trade journal. The XRT in November. Unless we're in a recession, a nuclear war or something, the XRT goes up in November. This is a layup trade, and I blew it. That's my fault. We were doing great trades and everywhere else. So write this down. Trade the XRT in November. It goes up. This was stupid. That's my fault. Task trade saturated with all of our other good trades. XRT. This isn't one of my sectors, but somebody asked about Nike, so I had a little bit of a tangent here. Write this down. XRT November. Put this on a calendar reminder. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Give me one. I'm putting November 1st. 1 second. Awesome. All right. XRT, I put on 1 November for next year. Okay. Let me get back to, Tamara, defense will be next. But so out of the techs, you guys know me, I love an Apple. How many of you are printing money in Apple? We had a Jan 19 on, and we now have a Jan 20 on. You guys should be looking really good in Apple. I think now it's time. It's almost doing an Amazon. Yay! And then we're just kind of hanging out here. Okay, I think Apple's going to have a great Christmas. All the booger eaters coming out and buying their new Apple stuff. So Apple should be printing money for my members at TGO. The other thing that printed money this entire year was what? Facebook. I haven't talked about Facebook in a while, folks. Look at this. Look at the 1 year run in Facebook. Everybody who was in a Jan 19 or is in a Jan 20 is printing money in Facebook as well. Okay. It's Cliff. That's one of my trades. We're going to go back and look at that. Let me get through my sector talk here. So look at our FANG trades. Our Facebook, our Apple, and our Amazons have been doing great. Had one blowout, like I said, on the weekly option side here, but we have more than made up for that. Those happen. I really don't care about that one because we have been nailing Amazon. Love it. Kind of looks like Apple right now, right? Big move on earnings. Sideways. Holy crap, cyber. I didn't think it would pop until after the cyber stuff came out. It was doing so good based on those online sales numbers. the good news came out the week before it even started. So that was my fault. Note to self, along with our XRT trade next year, don't do that or get bullish on Amazon the week of Thanksgiving. There's another free trade for next year. Okay. And yeah, whoever wrote that down, yes, if Wiz, I can't afford these, or, there's single stock risk in an Amazon or an Apple, and, Jeff Bezos shoots himself into space. Look at this. Greg, my Apple is up 12%. Your Apple 19's up 62%. That is phenomenal, man. Congrats. I love it. That is a Merry Christmas. Greg, what was the time? What is the time frame on that trade? How long have you had that on? I'm grabbing a screenshot of that. How long have you had that on? Because I like knowing the time frame. Greg. Let me save that. Okay, cool. So let me wrap up tech. So we covered energy, we covered financials, we covered tech. Now we got to get into a defense. Okay, the ITN? It doesn't have options on it for some stupid reason. If you want to, or no, what is it? What's the defense sector? Somebody look that up. I don't trade it. It doesn't have options. Here's your defense stock. Oh, the ITA. ITA, if you like the defense industry, and that's never mind. Ignore I even mentioned that symbol. It's Raytheon, guys. Get into a Raytheon Jan 20 long call diagonal. Look at this thing. Look at the 2-year return on this stock. And this is under Obama, April 13, 2017. So under a year. Wow. Dennis, my Apple 2019 trade from last year is up 107% from August, folks. A little look at that. That is phenomenal, guys. That puts a huge smile on my face. That is great. Dan, yep. So Raytheon, guys, if you're new, you need to be not only in a Jan 20 Raytheon, and just for the sake of time, I'm not going to tell you why just Raytheon. Well, Raytheon's in everything, folks. It's in Boeing, it's in General Dynamics, it's in Northrop Grumman, it's in Lockheed. I know my defense stocks. Raytheon is where you need to be. And we put on, look at this. This is a bullish, look at that. 1, 2, 3. Can anybody say that is a bullish breakout? Again, I'm not a technical analysis dude, but you can, this is another one. Okay. Love Raytheon. We've been printing money in Raytheon and the bull put spreads. Ray, I hold them until December. I hold them till the month before they expire. Now, when you're looking at, for example, one of my JP Morgan trades last year, I had a JP Morgan long call diagonal that was on for about a year and a half, and it was up 41 grand. I got out of it for net 38. Remember, when you're looking at your profits in your long call diagonals, no market maker is going to come in and say, whoa, I will buy this house at full value. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have to give back to Caesar a little bit, okay? So I do it the month before, Dan, unless it's in trouble. But none of our long call diagonals at all are in trouble. Again, weekly options, sexy. Oh my God, I made a lot of money this week, Wiz. And then you get kicked in the ass the next week. Weekly options are weekly options. This is where we print money, is the long call diagonals, folks, and trading the front months. Okay, so Raytheon's a yes. We might look at another Raytheon bull put spread here. Folks, let me go 5-year. Look at Raytheon under Obama. Look at this, folks. Look at that. That's under Obama. Trump wants to kill bad people and increase defense spending. Get in this now. If I were to rank these, if somebody who didn't ask me were to say, hey, Wiz, what's the order of importance into getting into these long call diagonals, it would be defense and Raytheon now. So, wow. Oh, Curtis, man, I'm sorry to hear that. I give your father a salute. I am sorry for your loss, my brother. That is, that's very sad. He was a World War II Navy vet. He is the great generation, and he's a great American, Curtis. I'm sorry for your loss, my friend. Give him a salute for me. That sucks, especially around the holidays. That's not good. So you're cleared off, my friend. Give him a salute. JW. Well, I can't. Let me hit the ball back across the net, JW. How much are you on? How much are you up? You know, Tim, that's my apology. I said we'd move this to 1 o'clock going forward. They did. I got here and I'm asking support. Why aren't we starting? Let's keep everything as normal until January 1st. We'll start our new flight schedule. JW, it depends how much. If I was up, remember, my SOP says if I'm up 70, 80, 90% in a credit spread, a bull put spread, I would get out of it. Well, you don't know if it looks high. This is it seems to do this, JW, up, retest, up, retest, up. Are we going to retest? I don't know. Or do we keep going up? I'll tell you, with the defense, with Trump signing a $700 billion defense bill, I would absolutely look at a new one. Let me finish my sector brief, and then we're going to look at Apple and Raytheon. Okay, I wanted to, for all our new people, I wanted to do another live demonstration of our 5 sectors. All right, what did I cover? Defense, energy, tech, defense, energy, tech. Oh yeah, Kevin, a Captain Kirk. Now let me explain that terminology. Good catch. It's the Tamara, I covered the financials. Remember, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, no Goldman Sachs. It is the emerging markets. Now, no offense to any Brazilians on the webinar, no offense to, and I got to be honest with you, FXI is a little Captain Kirkish, right? And we have a bull put spread. Somebody talked about FXI. So my 5th sector, you got to look overseas. And the reason I call it a Captain Kirk trade is this. Carl Icahn, Ken Griffin, Stevie Cohen, the guy who is a disgusting human being that supports Hillary, Soros, Warren Buffett, none of these guys got rich, folks, following you. And they certainly didn't get rich by being a member here at TGO. So no offense to you or to me. These guys got rich by going every once in a while with some of their trades to where people are boldly going or where nobody is right now. So here's the deal, folks. In FXI, here, right around here, I assumed where, the spring is when I assumed, you know what, Trump is before, fire and fury. The president of the United States of America threatened to rain fire and fury down on another country. I'm like, oh my God, if we're getting close to a shooting war, he's going to lean on China. He didn't. He didn't come in and label China a currency manipulator on day one. Huge manipulator of currency. Nobody labels currency manipulators better than me. Believe me, he didn't. So I listened to him. I thought he'd keep his campaign promise. He didn't. So FXI is a yes. The risk to getting in a Jan 20 FXI trade right now is everything I just told you coming true. Is everything I just told you on my morning Department of Defense briefing report. Guess what? He could, in the blink of an eye, he can turn sour on somebody. Look, that Omarosa chick from Apprentice, I think they had to physically carry her out of the White House the other day. And now she's bad-mouthing Trump. So the guy can turn, he could turn on President Xi in China and say, hey, you guys got to sit on your stupid nephew there, or we're going to, label you a currency manipulator. That's the risk to this trade. So if you're in, we have an FXI bull put spread on. Does anybody have the strikes handy? I don't. We have a bull put spread on. We put it on because I thought it would hang with this chop. So this one is fine. This is a hold with FXI. But this is a yes. So everybody who's new and wants a Captain Kirk trade, either FXI or this one, Brazil. This doesn't look super good here, Wiz. Well, let's debrief it. This looks freaking super great if you got in right there, which is where I told you to get in. So I know, Kevin, you're in there. So it's a solid, you should have a solid return in your, holy crap, Wiz, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? Was actually, I guess I can still call them friends. I mean, just because it's Brazil, folks. So I did like 25 speeches around the United States and Canada for the past year and a half for JBS. It's the second largest food company in the world. And guess what? Here's JBS executives on tape with the president talking about graft and corruption. Whoops. So again, it's a Casablanca moment. I'm shocked. I'm shocked to know that there's corruption in Brazil's government. Hell, man, the last lady got impeached. The president before her might go to prison for 10 years. So this is why I said to get into it right here, is because it's Brazil and the market knows this. They act shocked. It's a good reason to sell off, and then it was off to the races. So this is definitely a Captain Kirk trade. Okay. Remember the BRICS, folks, and you can drop the S off of it because, I can point South Africa on a map. I don't trade it. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the S would be South Africa. The other Captain Kirk would be what I just said, Mother Russia. Look at the RSX. A little bit of a pullback, nice run, and then now the RSX is just trading sideways. So those would be, what do I like out of those? I got to tell you, as a military guy, man, I just worry about China. I worry about Trump waking up at 4 a.m. with his Diet Coke next to his bed. And you know what? Currency manipulator, China, they're not doing enough to sit on Korea. Right now, he's kissing his ass. I like the Brazil trade a little bit more. Have a post on EWZ, 39.5. Weird couple of days with no volatility on buy side for a few hours. Kevin, that's the ETF. Remember, the EWZ trade follows the what? What does the EWZ follow? It follows the Bovespa. So I'm not super knowledgeable in the day-to-day, trading of what goes on in the Bovespa. The 37.38 at about break even. You know what? No. When's the expiration, JW? I don't have my Captain Kirk trades in front of me. Why would you roll it? If it's the 37.38, we're at 38.56. I wouldn't touch that trade. JW, if you're in the 37.38, I wouldn't roll it at all. That looks to be profitable. JW, oh, I see what you're saying. If you can do it for break even, I see what you guys are saying. Yeah. I would roll it down. Absolutely. I didn't get filled on that EWZ trade. I'm in my FXI bull put spread. So all right, guys, you're confusing me. The 37.38, if you have a 37.38 bull put spread on with the EWZ, that's a no-brainer. I would hold that through tomorrow. If it's the other one, the 39.5, I'd look to roll that down and out. We have support here, guys. This is support. It has been a wild couple of days. So, yeah, exactly. The 38.5. That's a pilot in command moment, guys. I'd hold that through tomorrow. I'm a trader. I would hold that trade and see what's going on. It's kind of like that. This is in a wedge. It's called a descending wedge. But let me show you another trade that was in a descending wedge. It was this one. That was, whoops, stop. What? Okay. This was a descending wedge, and I blew it. So remember, guys, I'm not super into technical analysis here, but wedges end. They either end with this or they end up imploding. Okay. Oops. So stop. My God, man. Finger fire here. So Tesla was in a wedge and then it exploded. So guys, why not hold long called diagonal through the expiration? Well, HH, if you're long, what happens when you're long calls and the trade expires? What happens if you held EWZ? Let's talk some options basics. Somebody answer HH. If you, what happens? Folks, remember, guys, when you buy an option, right? Buyers have, sellers have what? Obligations. You have, when you buy a call, there you go, guys. Guys, if I'm selling my house and somebody says, hey, here's a 10 grand check, folks, and they go through that, even though they go look for 30 days, what happens, folks? You own the shares. So, HH, if you want to, you remember, folks, when you say I'm going to let something expire worthless, that's when you're a seller of something, right? It'll expire worthless. Remember, when you buy something, you'll take. It's not called a sign. Well, what would it be called? You take delivery of the shares. Does everybody understand that? So it's not necessarily assignment, but you're close. You exercise your options, right? I know of. I can count on one hand maybe the number of times in my career I've actually taken delivery. I don't. Why? But HH, it's up to you. If you want to own the EWZ, great. I wouldn't. But this is a yes for me. This is a Jan 20 trade. Okay. How did I screw up this charting, man? Thank God. I'm using the holidays and stuff to really get up to speed with TradeStation. Watching videos. I got some private demos. All right. Those were the 5 sectors. Holy crap, that went an hour. We got to get moving here. I at least wanted to cover a couple trades and maybe volatility, but let's get a trade on. I'm loving Apple here. Does anybody know how to get this freaking chart back to it going all the way out here? Prayer. What the hell happened here, man? This charting is awful in this. No, that ain't it, man. Shit. Click and pull it. Oh, hey, Mike. Look at that. No, I was changing the name. Mike gets it. Mike gets a gold star. All right. Strategic mindset. Let's go. We're going to get at least an Apple trade on. Step 1 of our trade plan, cautiously bullish. Okay. I am cautiously bullish on the overall market. We're going to get tax reform. I do not think we're going to have a government shutdown. We might have some kabuki theater for a couple days. I don't think volatility is going to spike that much. That's why I would prefer this trade over a volatility trade. If you think I'm wrong and you think the Republicans can snatch a government shutdown from the jaws of victory, put on a bullish double vertical on VXX. I just don't see that happening. Could be wrong. Apple, post earnings pop, has reported good sales. It's got the iPhone 10 or whatever for $1,000. All the booger eaters are happy. This is and if you're going to see some window dressing and you haven't had Apple this year, you're a portfolio manager sitting here during Hanukkah, you're going to be grabbing some Apple shares. I am, this is your commit criteria, by the way. I'm short-term bullish on Apple through the end of the year. So let's take a look at some options. I wouldn't. Let's go out to just before my birthday. Hint, hint. New Year's Eve. I wouldn't do a full January 1st. And I like the. Let's see if we can add a little airspeed. Is there a 167.5? Let's see if there's a 167.5, and there is. I like that. Let's try the 165, 162.5 first. And let's walk it around. 162.5. Ooh, 17 cents. Nope. Oh, this is the half strikes. That's why. Wow, there's really no risk at all in that. We are going to have to go up. I do like the 167.5s, 165s. Man, man, there's a lot of upside. There's a lot of skew in here, folks. The market is bullish on Apple. I mean, this is a yeah, look at that. Oh, that's good, John. That's a good looking trade. Let's try 30 contracts. All right, here's the Apple trade that I like. I like selling 30. Why 30? Risk of the December 29th. Why December 29th? Because I think the dead week between December 25th, Christmas, and the beginning of the New Year's, that dead week is when you start getting reports of holy crap, holy iPhone sales, Batman, and this and that, and all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to use the 170s. So let's take a look at the chart real quick. The 170, we've seen it. I'd say that's why I was looking at 167.5. Well, no, 167.5 is right there. We touched it. So 170 is support-ish. That's probably why we're seeing the options price like this. So that's, you know what, I do feel better. It's 170 is short-term support. We've gone under it a little bit recently, but it's been kind of the battle line there. As a hedge, you're wrong, Wiz. The stores are empty. No good news on iPhones. Nobody wants to buy an iPhone or a G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. You're wrong, and it implodes. Well, this trade is hedged because we're buying downside puts, the 167.5 puts. Okay, I'm bullish on Apple, or at least neutral. Using puts, and it's a spread. This is called a bull put spread. It's also called what? It says it right down here. There's the answer. A credit spread. We're getting paid to do this trade. Special handling, you would want to do, I need to start covering this more, all or none. Every once in a while I see somebody put in the chat box like, oh, I only got 3 of those. I'm like, damn it. You need to do all or none. If you don't put all or none, that means they can fill you on 1 contract out of your 30, and then maybe 15, and then do all sorts of shit and charge you commissions. Don't let them do that. This is your trade. This is the bull put spread. Do all or none. Okay. And if you want 58 cents, you put fill or kill, or I forget what it's called. But yeah, you want to Apple 1214. Okay. First place we're going to look, obviously, as TGO members, is always at max risk. We always want to know what is the worst possible scenario. And if we're not okay with the worst possible scenario, we don't do it. Or we change the amount of contracts. We do 15, or we can do a lot of other things to lower this risk. With a $100,000 model portfolio, I like not risking more than 5%. It's a good ballpark number. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're not going, holy crap, that trade moved against me and now I'm broke. That's just stupid. You have got to know your max risk on every trade. And this is okay. It's close to my SOP. Now we can look at max profit and go, well, this will suck if it happens, but that's why we also have 2 levels in our trades, one called adjust and one called eject. Kind of canaries in the coal mine that are going to tap us on the shoulder and say, Wiz, this Apple trade's moving against us a little bit. What should we do? So the only time we end up taking a max or taking a max loss is if we have one of those, a pop moment, like a Tesla type of moment, like, crap. You step away from your computer in a blink of an eye, it's blown through that. Or we make a no shit conscious decision. You know what? My commit criteria and my strategic mindset are still sound. I'm hanging with this. So this shouldn't happen too often. That's the good thing. Now we can go happy and say, all right, we'll stop being Eeyore and a pessimist and say, how much can we make? We can make potentially $1,800 in 2 weeks. That ain't too shabby. $900 a week in your pocket ain't that's another job, right? So there's using Apple's current at the money volatility in the options. It is about 67%. Okay. Now here's why we're options traders. This trade potentially makes money 3 ways. That blue line right there is Apple. Apple can stay right where it is, and this trade makes money every day. Remember your Wizism, one of them. Unched on the day equals time decay. If you are unchanged on the day, if Apple just sits here and wallows around for a little bit, you get time decay. You get theta. You're selling something, folks. You're bringing in a credit. So when you bring in a credit every day that goes by where it doesn't do anything, open up your pocket, and there goes a dollar bill that floats in. That's why you want to be a seller of options. Every day you're long something, open up your pocket, and a dollar flies out with theta, with time decay. Or, well, whiz, it went up. Well, maybe a penny or 10 cents flies out of your pocket. I don't like money flying out of my pocket. So we make money if Apple is unchanged. We make money, obviously, if Apple goes up. We can make money even if Apple goes down a little bit, as long as it stays above what? Our break even. So the credit that we're taking in, folks, I'm trying to get what is it, 50, whatever? Just do the math, right? Our short put is what? How much credit are we getting? This, they don't show it on the screen. It's awful. 59 cents. Duh. So there you go. 59 cents. What's 170 minus 59? Okay, Wiz, that's no mental math for me publicly. It's that. There's your break even. Okay. Let me get a screenshot of this. If we run out of time, guys, I would look at another Raytheon bull put spread. Apple, maybe I'll do that as our urgent alert. I have to do an urgent alert tomorrow. So I'll do that since we're running out of time. All right, so somebody asked me to go through the adjust and eject, and I will. You bet, Chris. So let's blast a text and an email out to people who can't get texts for whatever reason. So 1 second. Let's go over to our caster, our broadcaster. So there's 2 points in a trade, folks. Paste. Analyze your trade and debrief. New Apple bull put spread. 30 contracts. December 29 expiry. We're going to buy the downside puts, the 167.5, and we're going to sell the upside puts. Somebody's already seen a fill. Somebody got a fill at 60. Ooh, then I'll put 60 in there. I like that. I'd go around 5 cents wide, meaning, 10 cents wide, 5 cents to the downside. I'd take a credit as low as 55 or as high as 65. So that's plus or minus 5 cent credit. Day to open. All or none. Ooh, let me put that in there. I'd look to adjust this trade if it went up to about $1.05 and eject at $1.20. And I'll go through that in a second. I'll spend a little time on that. Let me blast it out first. So people who are sitting in death by meeting, all right, adjust and eject, folks. So it's already up at 63 cents. Great. Go higher, folks. That's risking 50. Look, your risk goes down, and you could potentially make $1,900. So that's try for that. Remember, if it goes above that, I would not do it. Above 65, I said, right? Apple. So try and get if you're trying to get it right now. So listen to me. Let's go through adjust and eject. You need to have some warning indicators, folks. Okay, in the cockpit, trading is combat, folks. So you need some indicators that let you know that something might be going wrong. First of all, let's talk about the good. Somebody asked about the Raytheon trade. Well, folks, if you're looking at a 70, 80, or 90, 789, what is it? Why is 8 afraid of 7? Because 789 or something? I don't know. Keely told me that joke. If you're looking at a 70, 80, or 90% profit in a credit spread, the hair on the back of your neck needs to stand up and go, maybe I should start taking a look at taking some profits. If you're looking at a 9 and you just want to do I'll let it expire worthless, that will work a lot of the time. The one time it doesn't, it will blow out all of your earnings from all of the other times so be leery about doing that. The times I do that, I will tell you, I'm going to let this expire worthless because maybe it is a weekly options trade. I forgot to cover that. I didn't get filled on Monday, guys. How many of you got filled on the weekly options bull put spread? We're at 26.65 right now. You guys, who's in the weekly options SPX trade? You should be pretty happy. So JW, so if you're in it, are you going to quote let it expire worthless? Here's the problem with that. JW, how much are you up? Because I want to use you as an example. Yeah, I mean, some of you got filled in the webinar. It kind of ran away from us, which is well, it's not a good thing if you didn't get filled, but it's a good thing. JW, so 64%. So this is a good discussion item. You're up 64% in a trade in 3.5 days. In the world of weekly options, between me flapping my gums right now and tomorrow's close is a world of time, especially with the Donald Trump White House, the Department of Justice, the everything. I don't see anything coming out of the Fed that would derail us. Maybe let me just what did I say we have tomorrow? Cap rate and industrial production. Yeah, I know, Kevin. It did have a good pop when we Empire, Cap, and so there's not too many. So this would be one of those, JW, where I would say, you know what, I am going to hold this one through tomorrow. So JW, I said 7, 8, or 9. If I'm looking at 70, 80, 90% profit in a credit spread, so 64% is you know what, there's not too much on the radar for tomorrow. There's the cap rate, the industrial production, and the Empire Fed. The bias is to the upside. The only threat here really is, guys, I'm almost scared to say this because, of course, this shit happens when I say it. The exact opposite happens. Remember, for the longest time there with North Korea and some other issues, the markets were tended not to have, rally into the close on Fridays, or at least they would go down. Nobody wanted to be long going into a weekend because nobody knew what was going to happen. So Fridays tended to, maybe give a little bit back. I think we have these Dow up 17s, the S&P up 2 type of days on a Friday. So that's the only risk, though, JW, is that. So, but JW, as I went through that explanation, your trade probably got 5 cents in theta. So as you sit here and go through the rest of the day, JW is making more money on that credit spread. So that would be one of the times, and I'm dropping anchor here for a reason. That would be one of the times where I would sit here and say, well, I don't know if I just blindly let that trade expire worthless. Me, in a weekly options trade, I sit here. I take a break. I go for a run or whatever, but I'm on my phone. I'd monitor the trade, okay? So in this spread, we need a point in the trade if it's going against us. So I just covered the good. If you're seeing a 70, 80, 90% gain, you need to, as your pilot in command, do what? I need to decide when to get out of this trade. I'll send you a text when you guys get to eavesdrop on what I would do. I can't tell you what you specifically would do. You have to come up with your own SOP that says, Wiz, I'm a 70% guy. Anytime, hell, that's brilliant. I know billionaires who run funds who are 70% folks. Wiz, are you kidding me? You give me 70% in every trade that I can do, they print money. You swing for the fence, then you got problems. Now let's talk about the bad. Apple's Apple, and it's moving around as I'm speak. So let's just go with the 63 cents. Let me start with the horrific first. I have a point in a trade that I call the eject point. This is the point, and it's the point in a trade where, literally, to use an aviation analogy, you're flying along, and all of a sudden you're just eating your lunch or looking at your map or something like that, and boom, this is your Sully moment. This is your whatever that was called, something on the Hudson, Miracle on the Hudson. All of a sudden, both of your engines have flamed out. You got 2 fire lights on, and holy crap! So the eject point is that point where you need to decide pretty damn quick whether or not you're going to eject out of this trade and cut your losses, or as the pilot in command, as Sully or as Wiz or as you in your Hornet goes, you know what? I'm sticking with it. It's going against me for this reason or these reasons, but I think it's either short term. It's not good. You have to, if you're going to fly past your eject point, folks, I've been to 11 memorial services. I buried 11 of my best friends in 15 years. 3 or 4 of them in training were stupid. They did this. Okay, so sometimes it works out for you. Sometimes you get an air medal for saving the airplane. Other times you die. Does that make sense? Exactly, Chris. So it's one of those times where holy crap, you sit down at your computer, you're like, holy crap, I'm at my eject point. Because we don't want to do this. We don't want to take a $5,600 loss. So that's the eject point. And Wiz's rule of thumb, if you're new, write this down in your SOP as you're developing your own trade SOP, is what? I double the credit that I take in. So let's just say $1.20. If this trade goes up to $1.20, remember, we want it to go down in value, folks. We're selling a car. We're the greedy car dealer. When that dude pulls out in that Ferrari out of the Fort Lauderdale Ferrari dealer with his midlife crisis, you're laughing because the $250,000 car is now $220,000. Even if he did a U-turn and came back in your lot and said, hey man, hey Chris, will you buy this car back? Sure, for $225,000. It had $25,000 in theta. Now, if the exact opposite happens, that dude pulls out of your Ferrari dealer and all of a sudden, literally breaking news on your cell phone, J.D. Power and Consumer Reports rates that one Ferrari model number, whatever you just sold, as Jesus Christ wants to buy that car. And it goes, that's bad. Well, it'd be great if Jesus Christ came back and wanted to buy that Ferrari, but you know what I'm getting at. When you sell something, we don't want it to go up in value, man. We want to be, no, if somebody bought this house from me, I wouldn't care if it burnt down the next day. That's my Gordon Gekko. Now, if Jesus Christ came to Boca Raton, a lot of people would be offended. But if holy crap, Wiz, you sold your house for $3 million, now it's at 10. How do you feel? I'd want to put a bullet in my head. Does that make sense, folks? So that's the eject point. I just use a good rule of thumb. I double the credit that I take in. Okay? Exactly, Scott. I tend to stick with, I got to be honest with you, folks. I have a lot of professional trader buddies, including a lot of the guys I've interviewed to start next year. They laugh at this, but I took this from my retail days, man. As a retail trader, as a professional trader, I still do it. But I have buddies who they put a trade on and they forget it. They don't even know. They're like, "What the hell does roll mean?" I'm like, "Wow." So it is. I'm telling you, Alan Nuckman, my buddy, he's on the CNBC Daily. He laughs at me. He's like, dude, why'd you put the trade on? If you didn't, I'm not going to get into the sausage discussions or the drinking discussions we have as professional traders. Let's just say I'll use an anecdotal amount of about 60% of us adjust trades or have stuff, and the other 40% go, it's a bad trade and I eat it. That's why I tell you this, guys. Chris, how do you implement it on your platform? I can't tell you, Chris, who do you trade with? You have to pick up the phone and call who you trade with. Some of them have stop losses. Some of them you can put in once you're filled on a trade, Chris, that, hey, if it hits $1.20, close the trade. E-Trade, I don't think they do, Chris. That's why I'm leaving. Somebody help Chris out. I monitor these each day. Once you get filled, I think it'll send you a text if it hits a certain price. It doesn't execute it. So, Chris, you're probably moving over to TradeStation with me. Mark, it wasn't necessarily another sector. It was a hedge. So, in addition to my 5 sector trades, you need a hedge on. Let me finish with this adjust and eject. Does anybody, JW, if you do say 80% for eject, do you get caught in a lot of unnecessary losses? JW, that's why, by experience, I tend to sometimes, here's the easiest answer to all of this, folks. If your strategic mindset and the 3 to 5 sentences you have in your commit criteria are still sound, I stay through the eject. If I sit there and go, the 3 sentences I used to put this trade on are still valid, I don't eject. If any one of or all of those sentences are not valid, get out of the damn airplane. Does that make sense? That's the basic answer to this. So, yeah, Chris, I had to do the same thing. I had to unwind all my trades because transferring a brokerage account with existing positions is a nightmare. You just got to go to cash and move on over. So, that's the eject point. The adjust point is when you start to smell smoke in the cockpit and you scratch your chin and go, it's getting warm in here. The EGT, the engine temperature is going up. Maybe I should adjust this trade. So those are the two, and you guys got to watch the training on how to adjust, roll down, roll out, all that crap. So I'll be honest with you, 30 to 40% of my buddies do not adjust shit. Will TGO have a TradeStation educational walkthrough of their platform? They're going to come and do a couple webinars, HH. They're going to do just like I used to do with Options House. They used to come do broker demos. So yes, we will get our own personalized training, but go on the website and watch their training as well. So, wow, man, I went over by 16 minutes. It's not necessarily a sector, folks, but you have to have some sort of hedge on. What the hell? And this thing did it again. There we go. Let me talk about this symbol real quick. I haven't traded SDS in a long time, folks. SDS is the ProShares Ultra Short. If you think we're in for a big market pullback, so the SDS goes up when the market goes down. But look at this. Over time, SDS goes down. Being short, they're going to have to rebalance this eventually. This is another ProShares. So if you think we're going to have a big Fred Sanford sometime soon, you should be long SDS. If you think the market's going to implode, this is the symbol you get long. I mean, you can do, seriously, guys, that's a whole lecture. Buying puts on the S&P 500, on SPY or SPX, blah, blah, blah. But this is one of those triple charged ETFs or double charged. It's the ultra short. Okay. The other thing that you might have on is a VIX trade, a volatility trade. If you think that the Republicans can pull off a clown car in a week and potentially at least threaten to shut down the government, you will see a spike in volatility. It will be a short one. It'll be a tactical. It might almost be a day trade. So if you're interested, you know what, Wiz, I don't agree with Mitch McConnell. I think we might have. I mean, we've already moved on from tax reform, and now they're already talking about a potential government shutdown. You know what's a good metric to put on a bullish double vertical and volatility is when you see on the bottom third of CNBC when it says government shutdown looming, get long vol. That's your gauge right there. If CNBC doesn't have a lower third of holy crap, or remember the days, for those of you who have been here for a couple of years, we used to I loved the government shutdown stuff. Or when Boehner, I loved it. Who gives a shit about our country? I'm Gordon Gekko. I loved it. And now we don't have them anymore because Paul Ryan, we do all that stuff. So this is, if you think we might have a government shutdown, go ahead and get into that. Mark, in-long call diagonals, raising, strike on. Mark, I am not that guy. Just like I told you, 40% of my buddies just put on trades, and if it takes the max loss, that's the max loss. I was okay with that. I will tell you, I don't manage the protective put. I set it and forget it. The only time I touch that protective put, Mark, is if it's making money, like it did on Apple a year ago when Apple was imploding through 100. My protective put started turning green. I'm like, I actually closed it, took profits, and bought more Apple. So I'm not a protective put roller, toucher, whatever. You guys, that's good. That's a good question mark. That's just something for you to kind of run around and do on your own if you want to do it. JW, all right, I got to go, guys. Raytheon. Let's get back to Raytheon. Just take a look at, the current is what, a 185, 182 and a half or something, or I'd look at that. I'd stay around this as this thing climbs up. What's the current Raytheon? I don't want to go through all my pages here. What's the current bull put spread on Raytheon, guys? Again, I had to close out. I moved all my 180. Oh, that's holy crap. Yeah, no, it's 185, 180. I'd still look to put that on. That should still be a trade. I put that on to January 1st. So I wouldn't go up to the 187.5 yet. Why? Because we're doing this. This is technical analysis right here, guys. You see this support? You see this trend line right here? I'm not the only one that's drawing it on his or her computer screen. People that trade Raytheon are doing this right now. I guarantee you. It's not a high volume stock, to be honest with you. So that's why this happens. Up, down, up, down, up. So I wouldn't. Yeah, it's 185, 180 or something like that, right? Out, and it expires on Friday. I do another one of these, guys. I do another 185 and 180. And you ready for this, Diane? I'd actually go out. I'd probably go out to next. I'd go out to January on that one. I'm not, guys. I don't throw in trades just for doing it. I haven't thought through this, but that's how I feel. I think that is a good trend line. I like the 185, 180 out to January. But I'm going to save that for the PLTB. If you want to look at some homework and get in and get in earlier, look at the 185, 180 out to January. I like this. Yeah, Dennis, we talked about that. Raytheon only has monthlies, and that feels good. This is, guys, you can't, unless, again, let's close on this. We have single stock risk in Raytheon. It's Raytheon. We could CEO could be a communist. I don't know. Breaking news. Raytheon is a Russian plant. I don't know, folks. I'm telling you, though, with that defense budget that was signed the other day and a Trump and a Mattis saying, go kill every bad guy you can, war is good for Raytheon. The more North Korea saddle rabers, the more Iran. Nikki Haley's supposed to be on at noon. This is great for Raytheon. I would do 185, 180 out to January. I will talk about that in the PLTB on Tuesday. I'm not going to jam another trade in here. We're already 22 minutes over. Okay? All right, how we doing? So congrats to the folks in the weekly trade. We covered what to maybe do with that, maybe what not to do. And everything else is, we have some really, really, really good looking portfolios. We had a hell of a year, man. We'll do a yearly debrief soon, but everybody should be pretty damn happy right now. So yeah, if you're selling front month Raytheons, this isn't a tear. This is a good climb schedule. I probably, you know what? Let me get back to you on a front month Raytheon. I wouldn't do it right now because with this defense bill and some other stuff, since you can't go out a couple weeks, you know, if you are going to go out to a Jan 18, now is when I really would do about 10% out of the money. It would be pretty high. It might be like the 200s, man. I wouldn't do it. Brent, no, I went to cash. I closed all my options house E-Trade positions, and now I'm over in TradeStation. I'm supposed to be getting my own private welcome aboard demo tomorrow afternoon. It was supposed to be last Friday. It didn't happen because I had to go to Army Navy. So that's where we are with TradeStation. As far as getting a deal, I have to prove, you ready for this? I have to prove that I can open accounts for them, which is retarded since two of the guys that are heavies at TradeStation were heavies at Trade Monster, and they know me. They're like, the heavies above them when they don't trust them, apparently. So the Raber saddles, Brad, use that one. It ain't brain surgery, man. So if you are going over to TradeStation, you got to make sure you say, hey, Top Gun Options sent me, Wiz sent me, all that stuff, so it can be documented. So eventually they can circle back around, and we get enough people where if they don't eventually wake up and say we're good citizens, we'll go somewhere else. I always it's that time of the year where I call DirecTV, I call all my shit that's negotiable, and I say, you know what, I'm canceling, I'm going somewhere else. So that's what we're going to do. So, all right, guys, we're looking, Dennis, what if you're already there? Will that count? That's all in my negotiations, Dennis. Again, guys, I need to go there and show that I can open accounts and I'm a good sailor, and then they're going to wake up, and then, you know, we're able to drive them around like a wheelbarrow. Knowledge is leverage and power, man, and so are bodies. So the more of us there, the better. Trade Monster was great to us. Options House was great to us. Now I'm Moses. We've been wandering around with this crappy E-Trade desert, we found the Holy Land at Trade Station, and if it ain't the Holy Land, I'll call my buddy JJ Kinahan at Thinkorswim, and we'll go over there. Thanks, Brad. All right, guys. I'll probably send out an urgent alert tomorrow, so you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll get the replay out here shortly. Great stuff going on here at TGO. I'm very fired up and very happy. Remember, folks, I'm not a Thinkorswim, guys. We'll see. Let's unfornicate Trade Station first. I'll send this in an email, but for the folks who are at the Lake Tahoe event, December 31st will be the last time that you can get a lifetime membership at 12.5. It's going up officially. I have my marketing documents. It's going up to $15,000 on January 1st. Okay, so there was 20. I thought maybe a handful of people did it. We had 20 people last time. Nice round number. 20 people did the lifetime membership at 12.5. If you want to save $2,500, if you're even thinking about a lifetime membership, January 1st, it goes up to $15,000 because it was a little under market in my opinion. But I offered it to people in Tahoe, and somehow that got out because other people who weren't at Tahoe said, "I heard you're offering that." So, Tony, that's exactly right. If you are a veteran, you're on active duty, or you're a first responder, you get free trading for the rest of your life there. That is, I got to be honest with you, that might even be six figures for me in some years. That is stupid. I would recommend, if you're a sound body and mind, you go down to the damn Army National Guard headquarters today and go sign up, or go be a volunteer firefighter, and you can get free trading at Trade Station. Okay, yeah, Tim, throw it in the ready room. But yeah, guys, if you're interested in one of the final lifetime memberships at 12.5, shoot us an email or give us a call. Support at Top Gun Options or give us a call. We already got 3 of you. I got 2 people from the Lake Tahoe event that are now lifetime members. So welcome aboard. All right, guys, I got to run. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless. And I'll see you for the urgent alert tomorrow. Okay. And I'll talk to you guys later.